Hello everyone, my name's Letitia and I'd like to welcome you to Handy Quilter's brand new designing program called Pro Stitcher Designer. This program has been developed to enhance your Pro Stitcher experience by giving you the options to design your own quilting patterns, edit existing patterns and create quilting layouts on your own quilt by adding a picture of the quilt and using it as a background image. So in this first episode I'm going to cover the points of the screen so you can become familiar with the terminology used in the following episodes. At the top of the screen we have what we call our title bar. This gives us valuable information about what's happening on the screens below. It will give us the design name if the design has been saved or an existing design has been open. It'll also give us the width and the height of the design, how many stitches are in the design depending on whether the design has been created from artwork to stitches, and the colours used in the design. The next bar underneath that is our menu bar, and it has a number of tabs. The first tab is the File tab, then we have the Home tab, Tools tab, Modify tab, Preview tab, View tab, Settings tab and Help tab. All of these tabs have a relative drop-down menu called the ribbon bar, and there are many different functions within that ribbon bar for that particular tab. Next we've got over on the left hand side of the screen our quick access tools, and these are always visible. So we have our select tool, our shape tool, our zoom tool, our pan tool and our ruler tool. Further over we come to the right hand side of the screen where we have our properties box. In our properties box it's split into two sections. In the top half of this section here it will give you information about the design. If you select a design then you'll be able to get extra tabs here at the top, and this tab here is the Transform tab, which allows me to change the height and width of the design. We can maintain the aspect ratio, we can position it within our grid, we can rotate it whatever degree that we desire, and we can also horizontally flip as well as vertically flip. In the second half or the bottom half of the screen down here we have a further 4 tabs. The first tab is the Sequence tab, and this gives us information about the individual parts of a design. The next tab is the Designs tab, and this is where all of our Pro Stitcher sample designs are held, and we can then choose any of the designs that we're with Pro Stitcher to bring into Pro Stitcher Designer to edit and manipulate and play with. The next tab is the Effects tab. This tab allows me to put creative effects around my design. So I can put decorative outlines, or I could use decorative and motif fills to fill within my shapes. The last tab is the Navigator tab. This is a quick zoom tool which is absolutely wonderful. So basically I can just take my slider bar, slide it into the area I want to see, and then I use my little pan hand and I move it around the design so I can see in more detail to accurately edit design points, etc. The next thing we're going to address is down here at the bottom. We have our colour palette, and this can be set up in the settings menu. Further over to the right we can add a colour, we can remove unused colours, or we also have the option to set a background colour for the workspace if we need to do that. Is the workspace. This is the big white area in the middle of the screen where your designs will be displayed. Over on the left hand side and the top you'll see a ruler, and you can set the grid spacings for this ruler in your settings, which we will cover shortly. Then down the bottom of the screen and on the right hand side we have our slider bars, which allow us to be able to move around the design quickly and easily to see different elements of the design. We can also open new design tabs, so I can go up to Home and New, and it will open a new design sheet for me. This is a fantastic feature which means I can have multiple worksheets open and I can move my designs between each of the worksheets to create different effects. Now I'd like to take you through the settings. So click on the Settings menu tab and then let's click on General Options. In the first tab, which is our Environment tab, the units can either be set as inches or metric. I prefer inches because that's what most of our quilting patterns are set for. The default style at the moment can only be normal because we haven't set any styles at present. The default thread palette you can choose by clicking on the down arrow, and now you can see a list of all of the thread manufacturers that you can choose from for their thread palettes. I prefer to use the Viking palette because it's a simple 20 colours in bright primary colours, so it's easy to see different parts of my designs. I've used the language as English because that's all I can speak, and autosave every 7 minutes is a good time frame. Now we'll click on the Machine tab. The quilting space, the width refers to the usable length of your quilting frame. The height refers to the throat space of your machine. This size must be the usable throat space, not the physical throat space. The DXF default units refers to saving for AutoCAD files, which we won't be doing at present. The next tab is the Grid tab. I've set my horizontal and vertical grids to 0.25, which is the 1/4 inch, and I've used the colour as a medium grey. Over here in the Major section, I've asked it to set the major grid every 4 grid lengths, which is going to give me a 1 inch square showing on my screen with a blue dotted line. As to the style, you can have them showed as dashed lines, solid lines, or dots. I prefer the dashed lines. The shape, if you click on the shape, you have rectangle, diamond, or both. If you want to work with designs that are going to be on point, if you select diamond, then your grid will be on point as well. However, we'll stay with rectangle at the present time. In the options section, you've got snap to grid lines, snap to anchor points. In this particular option, I leave these all unchecked because they would always be on permanently by default. If I want to turn on one of these functions during my designing process, all I need to go up to the ruler, right mouse click, and then turn on whichever one I want to use. The next tab is the View tab. Highlight selection. I like to have a nice bright colour so that when I've selected a design, I know exactly which part of the design I'm working with. Show property tabs as icons. This refers to the bottom of the properties box down the bottom where you've got your sequence, your designs, your effects, and your navigator. I like to see them as icons rather than as words. On-screen text typing we'll leave unchecked for present, and we'll make sure that auto close zoom and pan tools and use left click on palette to apply colour are both checked. All we then do is click OK, and the settings are now done for us. Thank you for watching episode 1, our introduction to Pro Stitcher Designer. We will have lots more episodes coming up in the near future, so keep in touch and we'll let you know as soon as they're ready. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.